my lovelies, and welcome to another video on my channel. Thank you for joining me today as always. Today I thought I'd do something a little bit different. We're not doing nails today or designs. We are going to do some swatching. So I've already swatched for you. I had this palette, which is the 16-in-1 gel polish palette, which was number 5, which is the all glitters, which I just really loved. It was so nice to work with these polishes. So I actually picked up another one in the Black Friday sales. So this is palette number 3, and I was going to swatch them for my collection just because I always swatch my colors, so when I'm having a look I can see what colors are going to go together nicely, and I thought I'd just film it while I'm doing it so you can see the swatches, because I know sometimes when you look on a website and you look at the colors it can be hard to tell. So this is the palette. On opening it, it basically looks like a collection of pastels, mainly creams. It's got these 2 glitters in here, a silver and a gold, which is very appropriate for this time of year. So I thought, oh, that's handy. I'll give these a swatch, and I thought I would record it at the same time so you can see how these swatch. So there are 16 colors in here, and they are, all these polishes are HEMA free. Ooh, I think my camera, there we go. They're HEMA free, they are cruelty free. As you can see, they're not in the least bit runny. You can tip your palette upside down, and they are, hence the name, solid gels. And they cure for 60 seconds in an LED lamp. Mine is a 48-watt lamp, so we're going to cure that for the 60 seconds. So if you have a slightly less powerful lamp, then you might need to cure it for a little bit longer than that. So we're going to come in and have a look at these. I might pop some music on or see how we go, but I thought I might just do a couple while we're on the screen, so you can see what the texture and the viscosity is like. And this one is like a sort of a creamy, very, very pastel pale yellow, sort of creamy yellow color. And these are actually really nice to apply. I actually really quite like working with these, which is why I got the this other palette, because I had the ones with the gel, not gel, sorry, what am I talking about? Glitter, that's what I'm looking for. So I'm just applying a really thin coat of this. You could probably make it a little bit thicker if you wanted to, but that's actually going on really smoothly. And it's not streaky, which is really nice for a pastel color as well. So that's quite lovely. With these palettes, you will need a BYO brush. They do not come with a brush. So I've got my little bit of paper towel here. On my little mixing palette here, all I've got is some base coat, and I'm just using that to make sure I get all of that color out before I move on to the next gel, which, how do you describe this color? I'm not very descriptive. Oh, I'm not super descriptive with that. It's like a really, I don't know, what would you call it? Like pale mustard, maybe? I'd go with that. That's actually applying really, really nicely. These are so smooth to apply. They're just lovely. Ooh, I like that. So for me personally, I would use these as a base for nail art. As you know, I like to do my nail art. I like to mix up my colors and designs, and I just think these would make a really nice base. You probably could get away with 1 coat. I personally am going to do 2. It's not streaky, which is really impressive for pastel colors, but I just, yeah, I'm a 2-coat girl. There's very, very few colors that I would do just a single coat. And we'll do 1 more of these creamy colors, and if they're basically the same as the other 2, then I'll just do the rest off camera. And this looks a bit vanilla beany, actually. It's like a vanilla bean kind of color. They're actually really quite soft when you dip into them. They're softer than I expected them to be. Based on the look of them, they look like they're quite firm. And I mean, they're definitely solid. They're still not running as anything, as you can see. They're not going to run into your cuticle area or anything like that. It's literally wherever you place it, it is going to sit. But they are actually a lot softer than they look in the palette. They apply really, really nicely. They're just, it's kind of like applying butter. Not that I've actually done that to my nails, but if I was going to, I imagine this is what it would feel like. So they're actually really pretty. I'm not sure if I mentioned it. These cure for 60 seconds, so they will go in for 60 seconds. So I think I'll do the rest of the cream ones off camera, but let's just grab one of the glitters, of which there's only 2 in the palette. We've got this silver one here. Oh, That looks like it's going to be, yeah, that's going to be really nice and super Christmassy. Okay, we might need to grab these for our next design. Not that I have a clue what that design's going to be, but I'm sensing this is kind of, it looks like tinsel on the nails. It's that kind of silver. Yeah, it looks like tinsel. Could probably use this as like a tinsel look if you were to do Christmas tree or something like that. Would need a couple of coats to be opaque because it has got a clear base. But obviously, because on your actual nail, it's going to be on your nail bed, so it's going to look more opaque than it does on a ColourPop. But that's what the silver one looks like. Let's have a go of the gold while we're here, and then I'll do the rest off camera. So this is a really nifty trick. If you are switching colours, this is a really nifty little trick. If you just put a little bit of base coat on a palette and dip your brush in that and wait until all the colour comes out, and you are good to pick up your next colour. So that's a really handy little tip if you are using the bottle gel, a standalone polished brush. Oh, I love this. This is really nice. Okay. Very, very pretty. Same thing. It's got a clear base, but that's lovely. I reckon you could definitely build that up. We'll come in and do a second coat in a little while and see what that looks like. But that's a really pretty gold. It's a really quite a pale gold. It's not a really yellowy gold. It's more of a champagne gold. That's really, really pretty. I really like that. Okay, I'm just going to pop those, 5 colours in the lamp. It is a 60-second cure, and then we'll come back and do a second coat. So just while they are curing, I've just cleaned up my little side palette, and all I did was just spray a little bit of alcohol and wipe away with a lint-free wipe. And now I've got my nice clean palette again, and I'm just popping a bit of base coat down and using that to clean my colours off. So these are all NSI products that I'm using today. I do have a 10% off your first order code with NSI, which I will pop up on the screen. And here we come in with some of our colour swatches. Running out of room on my desk. I can never have a big enough desk for all of these goodies. So, right, so we're going to start with the gold first because that is what we finished with. So that is what I still have on my brush. So save me cleaning my brush. We'll just come in with our second coat. I'm really liking this gold. It's a really lovely, it's not a very yellowy gold. As I said, it's more champagne-y. Very, very pretty. Looks a bit tinsely as well. And you could put a colour coat or a base coat of sort of a goldy underneath that, but it just have a lovely sort of shimmer all onto its own. So that's very pretty. That's 2 coats of that. And as we've got our glitter brush. So I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but there's definitely some glitter polish that comes off. So this is a very effective way to clean your brush, and basically just dip it in until you see that all that colour has gone. And yes, it does go through a bit of base coat, but it's much more gentle on your brushes than something like an isopropyl alcohol would be. And you're really only going to be doing this, if you're switching between a lot of colours, which, if you're swatching, obviously you are. If you're doing nail art, you might do it a couple of times, but you're probably not going to do it all that often. So, but it is just a nice way of cleaning out your brush, but without having all the drying effects of isopropyl alcohol or acetone or something astringent like that. Oh, I really love that silver. I hope the camera's picking that up. It is a really kind of tinsely silver. I think we're definitely going to be using that for our next Christmas design. Speaking of which, if anyone has any particular ideas or suggestions for our next Christmas design, feel free to leave those in the comments section. Always open to some new ideas. I actually did get some stamping plates as well with this order, which I'm super excited about because I haven't had new stamping plates forever. So I'm very excited about those. So we will be but using those soon as well. And again, I'm just picking up my brush because I had this sort of, I'm calling it vanilla bean. That's sort of what the colour reminds me of, like a vanilla beanie type ice cream or something like that. It's a really pretty colour. It's going to be a great base colour for nail art or any kind of design that you want to do. And it really isn't streaky, which is very impressive for pastel colours. Yeah, I like that. That's going to make a really good sort of base colour coat. So we'll pop that in there, clean that colour off. Okay, sorry about that. My husband just came in with a cup of tea. So kind of him, just lovely. Okay, so now we'll come in with this kind of pastel. Yeah, it's like a really pale sort of creamy yellowy colour. It's pretty. And these are particularly probably good for spring as well. These are good spring sort of Easter colours. If you get a little bit of dust in there or dirt, then just clean off your brush. They apply really nicely, these colours. Very nice. Okay. So we've got that one, and then I'll just do one more coat of this sort of pale. Oops, I didn't have any base coat on there. That's right, clean that off. And then pop a bit more on. And I'll just do one more coat to show you this mustard, this pale mustard, and then the rest I will swatch off camera. And I will show you at the end. None of these colours have names or numbers, by the way. So it's a bit hard to sort of, so I'm trying to be a bit descriptive with them. Yeah, none of them have a name or a number, so I'll just have to tag them as to where they are in the case. This one in particular is just so soft. It's very, very pretty. Okay. I'll go and pop those in the lamp. I will swatch the rest of them. They're all 60-second swatch, and I will meet you back here. Okay, so we are back, and I have swatched all of the 16 colours, and I've put them in row order here, so hopefully you can see that clearly enough on camera. There's a nice mixture of colours in here. They are all pastel colours. But they are all also opaque colours. There are no translucent colours in here. The sort of palest ones that have the translucent background are the silver and the gold. However, as you can see with the two coats, they are actually quite opaque. So most of these, well, in fact, all of these I did swatch in two coats, but to be honest, I think most of them will be fine in just the one coat. So because these are going onto clear color pops, the color's never is quite as strong as it would be on your nail bed, because of course on your nail bed you've got your sort of blood flow and your nail and everything underneath, so it's automatically going to make the colors look a bit more bold than it does if you put them on a clear color pop. So being pastel colors, it's fantastic. These are not streaky at all. They were lovely to work with. They were all very creamy. These two, even though they're not creams, they are glitters, but they are still very creamy to work with. They're all opaque. They're all lovely. Being solid gels as opposed to liquid gels, they do not self-level. So just something to keep in mind. Where you place the gel is exactly where that is going to stay. So you want to make sure that you spread the color nice and evenly across the nail, but because these are not streaky, that is incredibly easy to do. You're not going to have any issues there at all. You will need, as I mentioned before, you will need a standalone brush. A brush does not come with these kits, so you will need that. But I actually really like these palettes. Oops, we knew I was going to do that, didn't we? Okay, I'll just stop now before I send them all flying. But they're actually really lovely to work with. For me personally, I would probably use these as a base for my nail art because they're just a lovely smooth surface to work on. And because of the colours, they're all quite muted, sort of neutrally soft colours. They make a fantastic background. So even if you wanted to put some glitter on top or some flowers or some swirls, whatever it is that you want to do, these would make a lovely basis for that. So I hope you found this helpful. I always like to have a look at the swatches. It can be a little bit tricky to see on a website, but this is what they all look like in person. They are all very similar in their finish. As you can see, there's no streakiness with these. And the colours are quite lovely. There's a lovely colour range sort of between greens, mustard sort of colours, very sort of beigey. I quite like to call that one vanilla bean, but it is that sort of colour. You've also got some greys in here, and then of course you've got the 2 glitters. So if you wanted to jazz it up and do like a bit of a glitter fade, then you can do that as well. So I hope you found this video helpful. Helpful. I hope you are all well as always, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.